Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Many of you mustn't have slept last night over a video which everyone saw. I'm talking about the horrific and one of the most barbaric videos of two women in Manipur paraded naked and molested by a mob. If you look at the video carefully, these women were dragged into a field and then they were later gang raped. Now, the incident was horrific, barbaric. These words look like an understatement as to how it really happened and how it was allowed to happen. Supreme Court today took suo motu cognizance of this video and said that the center and the state need to take action against the perpetrators. And if they don't act, the court will be forced to act. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and our Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani, who had been keeping quiet over the last more than, in fact, 75 days, they were forced to break their silence. But is it really enough over what the entire world and, of course, everyone in the country has seen? Everyone with whom I have spoken, they have just one thing to say, that nobody has actually slept. I'm going to discuss all of this. And let me tell you that Chief Minister Biren Singh, who, of course, is the man who has to answer many questions, he has now said that he wants a death penalty for the perpetrators. And apparently, the mastermind of this whole incident has been arrested. That's what the information is coming right now. Let's dive deep into the discussion. I'm joined by Suhas Chakma, who is the Director of Rights and Risks Analysis Group. Thank you so much for joining. We're also joined by Annie Raja, who's the CPI leader and also the General Secretary of the National Federation of Indian Women. Thank you so much, Annie. Patricia Mukim, one of the most renowned journalists from Northeast. Thank you so much, Patricia. And our senior editor from the Federal, Samir Purkaisa. Thank you so much, Samir, for joining. And let me begin by Annie Raja, because Annie was part of that fact-finding committee. There have been cases against her as well. Annie, your first thoughts over what the entire world has seen yesterday in that video.
Yeah, we have lost our sleep since we visited Manipur on 28th June and from 28th June to 1st July because you have seen this video yesterday, and we met women and young girls who had to go gone through they have gone through such a mob parade and everything, and the agony with which they are living. That is what disturbed us, and we could not sleep since then. And on this one particular case, how many cases will the government, will the minister will speak about what is happening in, or will they dare to go to Manipur and meet the women and children there? What are they talking about? What are they trying to say? Prime Minister saying that don't politicize it. There is a politics in all these violence.
Patricia, what would you really say? I mean, this incident happened on 4th of May, just a day after the clashes between the Kuki and the Methi tribes broke out on May 3rd. And why do you think that the video got viral just one day before the parliament session? Why didn't the video surface earlier?
There are a lot of things that are not accounted for. First of all, I'm looking at the atrocity of the act and the fact that it was recorded. I mean, the person who recorded it must be a misogynist of the highest order, a misanthrope of sorts. And the fact that this video has only emerged now could be a well-timed thing, but it could also be that for all these days, there was hardly any internet connectivity. And I think there was selective connectivity in the valley where people had to go to the DIPR office and do their work. So I think the elite had the use of the internet, others didn't have the use. So I'm not sure whether it is because of that this video has surfaced so late. And then after this, what? Only today has the Prime Minister deigned to speak something, saying he's ashamed. Why hasn't he spoken for 76 days? This is the 77th day. I've never seen, a central government that is so apathetic towards happening in a part of the country. This is what makes you feel so unwanted, so distant, so peripheral to the idea of India.
Right.
And saying anything now does not really help the situation very much. And then my question is again, what next? We may shed tears now, we'll say we can't sleep, and then after 4 days all this will go, to the back burner again. This has happened with the media across the country. It's
Absolutely.
only us in the Northeast that are repeatedly raking up this issue.
Right.
So why is there such a short-lived memory about atrocities in our region? And the atrocities in Manipur are beyond compare. They are just, I mean, you cannot even visualize that happening to anyone in your family. It's just too much of atrocity.
So, Ani, I'll come back to you. And yes, you try and complete what you were saying at that point of time. Yes.
I just wanted to ask this the Prime Minister and also the okay, Prime Minister, he was busy in touring other countries, but what about the Women and Child Development Minister? And what about even the Supreme Court? A court which knows that when such a long-lasting violence is continuing, then definitely the women and children will be the worst victims. They should have anticipated it and they should have taken some suo motu action before this. Why they also waited for today to respond? So that means how many more videos the administration of this country, the justice system of this country need to take proper action. What about the entire, holistically, the entire issue of Manipur? What about who are responsible for that? Who all are responsible for that? These are the questions. You cannot simply say, and suddenly Chief Minister is demanding death penalty. Don't think that these responsible people, constitutionally responsible people, can escape from such a gimmick. Whether it is Prime Minister saying that don't politicize, then he should speak about that. Speak about Manipur. Why he kept quiet for all these days?
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just looking at whatever the Supreme Court said, Suhas, and if I may come to you, Supreme Court made a point that using women as an instrument in an area of communal strife to perpetuate gender violence is unacceptable. Now, this is something which Supreme Court has said, and as what Annie said, that why were the courts also quiet? Do you think that this video, which has surfaced now for whatever reason, that internet connectivity was not there or whatever, the very fact that this act took place, it was filmed, it was recorded, and then it was made viral. What would you really say to the whole Manipur crisis, which has evolved since May 3rd? Do you see this as some kind of a turning point, which has really shaken the political class? And whatever has happened is like too little and too late.
Well, I think as a country, we have failed, not only with the political leadership at the state and the central level, even the Supreme Court of India, which has been actually monitoring the situation in Manipur for a long period of time. And at certain stage, I think the Supreme Court should have gone out of the way and say that, this is a case where we need to make appropriate interventions or directions. Yeah, of course, it's very easy to say that, law and order is a state subject. We cannot intervene. But when the situation so demands, obviously the court can intervene. And I think this was one particular case. And I think what I was a little shocked in the morning is that I still believe that the Prime Minister would not have spoken on this issue had the registry of the Supreme Court not informed the Attorney General and the Solicitor General that the bench is sitting at 10:30 and you have to appear before it because the court is going to take cognizance of it. And that's why, before even the Supreme Court could pass its own orders or the Chief Justice could speak, you had Modi speaking about it. And speaking about what? In one particular sentence, he says...
Who was saying in very clear words, Suhas, that had it not been for Supreme Court, apparently the Prime Minister would not have made a statement today as well.
Yes, I mean, I'm
right.
quite firm about it. Had the Attorney General and the Solicitor General who are not summoned or we are informed at about 9 o'clock that the Supreme Court is going to take it up, I don't think he would have spoken. And when he spoke, I mean, what did he speak? He said, even the aparadhit, wo apne jagah pe hai. What do you mean? I mean, are you trying to say that, in violence, you can justify this? And secondly, he says, I'm urging all the state chief minister. Manipur is not like all other states. It's in a riotous situation for the last 79 days. And the last point which I wanted to make is this. If the main accused could be arrested within 24 hours time or less than 24 hours time, since the video has gone viral, it basically shows that the state, if it wants, it can take decisive action and can bring the situation under control. So no riots, no riot can continue without the complicity, sanction, or connivance of the state itself. And the arrest of this accused shows that they could have immediately taken action, because after all, they were snatched from the custody of the police, and the police knew who were the main culprits. And till now they have not even undertaken the basic investigation for the last 75 or 76 days. So it shows that the state, some way or the other, there are certain people in the system who think that by perpetuating the riots they benefit from it, and that's why they are not intervening. Even today, the statement of the Prime Minister has to be seen with necessary caveats. It's not a full condemnation.
Right.
It's condemnation with violence against women across the country. But the violence against women across the country is not the same as the situation in Manipur, where we have been having riots for the last 79 days.
Right. But Suhas, what you have said, and I'm going to take that question now to Samir, that Samir, since it's not a full condemnation, as what Suhas says, by the Prime Minister, and of course, there are tinges of politics in his statement as well. He cites Rajasthan, then he cites Chhattisgarh as well. What would you really say on the present situation now, which is evolving after this video has become viral? How do the things change from here on?
See, look,
Yes.
yeah, look, this has really shook the conscience of the nation, and that the Prime Minister finally reacted to it is because of that. Because there are it has gone to that level where probably he could not remain silent anymore. And if you see, this incident had happened on the 4th of May. A complaint was registered on 18th of May. Then police had converted that complaint into an FIR in June, but they sat on it. Only after this video surfaced that everybody felt that now they could no longer sit idle. It has it has gone to that level. At least this video has shook the conscience of both the state administration as well as our political leadership. And after it went viral, that Manipur police swung into action, arrested one person, and another this thing positive arising out of this, that this condemnation of this incident is now coming from both valley and hills. Like earlier cases, we had seen that there used to be whatever about, even when there were condemnations, it was laced with whatever. But this time it's unequivocal. So at least perhaps this political leaderships, community leadership, they are realizing the gravity of the situation and the abysmal depth in which the Manipur has plunged. You see, the Northeast had in the past seen so many riots, so many mutinies, but never there were such kind of atrocities against women. This is the first time, if not first time, this is one of the rarest of incidents where such kind of atrocities meted out to women in a northeastern society. The only one incident which coming to my mind was in the late 2000s when an Adivasi woman was paraded naked on the streets of Guwahati. But apart from that one incident, I don't remember, though there had been a slew of violence, conflicts, inter-ethnic, these ethnic clashes, but atrocities, dishonoring women, it's very rare in Northeast, and this also shows this constant hate mongering. What does it make to a society? So
No, I want to say one thing. There were a series of actions that against which the government never took any cognizance. There was that song calling for genocide of the Kukis. I mean, there was hatred everywhere. It was allowed, like I said in one of my write-ups, that it was allowed to happen. It couldn't have happened, as Suhas said, without the complicity of the state. And today, uh, who is the state answerable to? Naturally, it will have to answer to the Supreme Court, but that's again coming a little too late. And then, if you look at the whole thing, it appears to be a very well planned aggression. You can't carry on a conflict for 77 days if you hadn't planned it earlier. And where did all the arms come from? These are things that need to be asked.
Right.
And it's actually a state of war, because you only use women as instruments of
Right.
violence in a state of war. You don't do it within your own country.
Of course, that's a very significant point. And Annie, if I may come to you, the Prime Minister today said that, uh, the heads of 1.4 crore people hang in shame. But the point is, who will be held accountable? Of course, the entire country is ashamed over what has happened. The entire world is watching us. But shouldn't the accountability be fixed? And Biren Singh, who's the chief minister, he says he wants death penalty for the perpetrators. Why should he not resign? His position is so untenable. The position
He should have resigned. He should have resigned from the second or the third day, or he should have been told to step down, and there should have been president's rule. Anywhere else, this would have been followed. But then you had a very ambiguous application of Article 355. It was neither here nor there. Then you had your security forces sent there, about 40,000 or 60,000 of them, and they are there with their hands tied. They can't even take action. And look at what the Mera Paibis did. Are they going to speak up today? They're women. They're saying that we are a group of women protesters who will protect our land. Now, they are the ones who've been protecting the evildoers, protecting the aggressors. And now this is what has happened. So are they going to speak up? Are all those... Manipur is the state with the largest number of NGOs. Correct me, Suhas, if I'm wrong. At
You're
one
absolutely
time,
right.
yeah. And then where are all those today? Why can't they be working towards peace? What did they do?
Right, absolutely. But Annie, I had interviewed Bina Lakshmi Nebram for the Federal just about 3-4 weeks ago. And in that particular interview, she did make a mention of the fact that how women have been raped, women have been molested. She made a mention of that. And she also said that, she had given a lot of intimation to the authorities that this is what is happening and women are fighting for their security. Now, do you think that the chief minister all this while didn't know about this incident? Of course, the video has got viral. The world has known now what really happened. But if activists knew what was happening with the women, do you think that the chief minister was so oblivious about this fact? Annie, what's your assessment? Yes.
Yeah, before coming to that, I think I must respond respond to one statement made by Mr. Samir just. And my co-panelist was saying that the video should be conscience of the state. And what conscience we are talking about? Do they have any conscience of their own? Now, why they have responded? Because they are now worried that whatever is happening in the state of Manipur will come out. Why they have filed cases against our NFIW fact-finding team? Because that was the first time some news has come out what is happening inside Manipur. So that is where it is not because of their because they felt in their heart that, oh, such wrong things are happening and people are suffering. Not at all, my dear co-panelists. It is not because they are now think that now people will more talk about this video. And how many more videos? That is what I'm asking. How many more videos you need to act on to solve the problems of Manipur, or to bring back peace and normalcy in that state. This is the thing which we are asking. The other thing is that, of course, we have met a lot of women in our 3.5 days in different sides, whether it is in Churchandpur and as well as in Bishnupur and Imphal East and Imphal West. And yes, we met few young women also. They were also attacked by the mob. They were also paraded. All those things are there. But why women are not coming out openly? To whom they will trust? Who is there to be trusted? Because for more than 2 months, the governments, whether it is at the state government or the union government, they are just looking at it or whatever is happening there. Now the Suhas was saying 18th May the case was, or the FIR was registered. Why they were waiting? They were waiting for to get this video released. So when CM says the culprits or the perpetrators will be punished, then who allowed them to do this crime?
Absolutely.
Who allowed them? Who is responsible for that?
Absolutely.
State administrator, it's the state chief minister. He could have. It happened on the 4th. On 3rd May, this violence broke out. He should have been intervened and controlled the violence on that very particular day. He failed to do that. So he is responsible. He is accountable for this continuous violence of for the last more than 2 months.
Right.
And while these violences continue, he remains silent. He remains as a non-looker. But even sender also remained silent and supporting him, supporting the state chief minister when they should have been intervened. I will not say that the president rule, because president rule means nothing. Even now we are at least able to speak to the people in the ground there in Manipur, when everything is completely under the control in the name of president's rule. I am telling you, it would have been a nightmare for the people there. And now, at least now they can also convey things to us. But there are many other means for the central government to intervene and bring back peace and normalcy. They also fail. So this is the combined failure of state and the center.
Right. Suhas, you were raising your hand. In fact, I was coming to you that what changes from here on? Of course, all this while the crisis had been brewing up for last more than 75 days. Prime Minister was completely quiet. Home Minister went there. He parked himself for a few days. But even then, the violence was not curbed in any way. Now, how does the crisis unfold after this video has become viral? Are we going to see more provocations? Are we really going to see some stern action being taken as to how this entire crisis, not only about the way this video has emerged, but also about the larger conflict which is there in Manipur?
Unfortunately, I do not see the violence, the conflict stopping, simply because the societies have become so polarized that, the controlling of the riots is no longer the issue. It's more about separate arrangements so that they could live peacefully. And all those things are very complex. We have seen the peace process with the Nagas. It's not easy to create separate administrative arrangements. And that is where I think the whole issue of the president's rule came up, not because president's rule would have resolved or brought the situation immediately under control. I think people wanted president's rule simply because Biren Singh was seen as a partisan person, and you need somebody who is neutral, acceptable from both sides. And my fear is, what the state government and the central government are going to do is possibly arrest a little bit more people and report to the Supreme Court by next Friday, and the violence continue as it is. I think what defines this particular riots, unlike all other riots, I think impunity is the dominant factor. There is no impunity from the political leadership, and that is why the chief minister continued for a long time. There has not been any impunity with respect to the loss of 4,000 arms and 500,000, ammunitions. So it was basically meant arming the civilians. And if you look at today, where is the Judicial Inquiry Commission by Justice Lamba? Absolutely silent. Where is the CBI inquiry, investigating 6 cases? See, there are many ways the state could improve the situation. And the only message within those ways is that, law shall take its own course. And the problem which we are facing in Manipur is that law is not following its own course.
Absolutely.
And that is where the problem is.
No, you used the right
The law
sentence.
is completely compromised. There
Correct.
is no rule of law. It is a failed state.
Absolutely.
It's moving.
I totally agree with what Patricia and Suhas have just said. And just to corroborate what you people have said, I interviewed Justice Madan Lukur just a week back on the wrestlers issue, where in the same vein he said that the law take its own course means nothing in this country.
Nothing.
He said it very clearly. Now, Samir, for the concluding comments, if I may come to you, what happens to Biren Singh now? Is he going to be called to Delhi? Is he going to be held accountable? How is the Prime Minister going to set the ball rolling when it comes to accountability, holding people responsible? Or as Suhas said, that we'll just see a few random arrests here and there, give some wishy-washy report to the Supreme Court, portraying that, oh, look, we've acted. Are we going to see some stern action, or is just going to be a cover-up exercise?
I don't think any stern action against Biren Singh will be taken, because the BJP doesn't want to sacrifice their government there. Had they been willing to sacrifice their government, by now Biren Singh would have been sacked. See, having said that, I think now it will be very difficult for the government, both at the center and the state, to completely be in silent mode on what is happening in Manipur. They will have to do some proactive action. They will have to take some proactive action, particularly on this incident, and we may see a few more arrests, so which is in a way a slight shift in the stand which the government was taking so far. They were just in the wait and watch mode. The arms were looted. No one was arrested. So many people were killed. No one was arrested. But at least in this incident, we are seeing some proactive action, and that is because it has shook the conscience of the nation so much that both the state and the central government felt that they cannot remain silent to what is happening there. Otherwise it will go as they say, na naak ke upar se pani jana. So it would have become like that. So we may see some positive action on some proactive action, some areas, but leadership change, I don't think so, because when Biren Singh had did that, many had said it's a stage managed drama. So stage managed drama or whatever. So when he that resignation, when he had his resignation had to be torn, it was actually a show of strength, and it was a kind of message to even to the central government that I have the support of the at least Meitei masses, and so if I am disturbed, the situation can further aggravate. So I don't think
one more clarification I needed. Is it true there are reports that out of those 2 women who were paraded in Manipur, out of them, both of them, one of them, is she in Delhi? There are reports, but can you confirm that?
No.
Okay.
I don't have any such report.
Okay.
That any one of them are in Delhi.
Okay. But really a sad commentary over the way the things have really happened. And I'm really reminded of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement, what he made and said last year from the ramparts of the Red Fort, if you remember, that we need to accord dignity to women. I'm really reminded of that statement. And I'm wondering why Prime Minister Narendra Modi has not been able to walk the talk. Thank you so much, Suhas Chakma, Patricia Mukhem, Annie Raja, Samir. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having all of you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching The Federal, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.